How do feminists ever take out the patriarchy without appealing to an enforcement arm, which is going to be necessarily patriarchal? How's that even possible?
Well, there could be robots, drones.
Who builds all the drones?
Somebody built some drone that builds more drones.
Who builds them, Ian?
I don't know. Somebody.
Men. Who builds all the weapons? Men. Who knows how to use all the weapons? Men. Who can carry all the weapons? Men. Who can load all the tanks? Men.
It's not a 100% thing. There are women that also do that stuff.
So the thing is like utilizing this idea that, oh, well, feminists want this for women. Feminists also want to deconstruct patriarchal systems.
Right.
So let me give you a logical argument here, okay, that I'd like you to respond to. How can feminists do that without appealing to the patriarchy? How can they take down the patriarchy without then appealing to the patriarchy in an infinite regress?
How do you mean?
Well, I would argue that men have the monopoly on force.
Okay.
Overwhelmingly, they have the monopoly on force, and they always will have the monopoly on force. My proof and evidence is half of the world. Half of the world right now, if they decide women are, and did, they were. And women could never appeal to anybody except men for their rights because they don't have force. So because that's true, you tell me how it is that women, feminists, how it's actually logical for them to say we're going to dismantle the patriarchy, even though via the force metric, they're going to infinitely have to appeal to it for their rights.
So you're saying, like, if all men wanted to, women, like, they would be able to do it because men are stronger than women, etc.
Like half the world.
Right. But he
so
it
presupposes how most of the observable world actually operates.
In that respect, and that's not what I'm taking issue with. The part that I'm taking issue with is just that it would break along these lines very neatly.
No. That's not the argument.
But what he presented to you is just that it would be like saying, like, if you have a group of people whose names start with the letter A, and then you have all the people whose names start with the letter B to Z, and all of those people work together to overcome the people whose names start with A, then yes, almost by definition, they would be able to, like, overcome the people with A, probably.
No. Well, yes, but also no. So let's copy out a few things. First and foremost, do you agree with me that there have been many revolutionary fights and revolts?
Yes.
Okay. Can you name any of them that were led or fought by women ever in history?
No, I don't believe so.
Ever in history?
No, I don't believe so.
One time in history?
No, I don't believe so.
So then what's going on is that...
Boudica, the Celts, they fought the Romans.
No,
yeah,
that was men, guarantee it.
No,
we can look it up.
Was a queen.
I mean, like, they were
having
a queen. Chariot, dude.
Hang on. Having a queen there doesn't mean that the people who have the monopoly on force weren't men, because it's always men who have the monopoly on force. And so the reason she can't point to any time ever in history that revolts and things like this were ever in operation by women. Women can never successfully take their freedom back from a patriarchal... Hang on, let me finish.
Okay.
They can never take their freedom back from a patriarchal force without appealing to a patriarchal force. Ever. Not that queen, not any queen, not any person ever in the history of all of mankind.
But it seems like you said because it hasn't happened, it can't happen.
It can't.
But that's saying the only justification is because it hasn't happened yet.
No, the justification is that men are much, much stronger than women.
But guns are
overwhelmingly
for that purpose.
Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Sorry,
let's get 10 women in a room and hand them a magazine and watch what happens.
But the great equalizer, the ballistic, is
it's not a great equalizer.
Just
Ian,
like with the monkeys, the biggest, strongest monkey would be the alpha.
Yeah,
then the other monkeys decide
what happens is with these equalizers is men take the equalization away from women because they're much stronger, which is why you see all these police officers getting disarmed and women in combat getting their ass stomped. That's why you don't see female Navy SEALs. That's why you don't see any of that, because they can't do it. They're physically incapable of doing it. Now, even if I grant you an outlier, even if I grant you G.I. Jane, who never came to fruition, G.I. Jane never existed, never came to fruition because they can't do it. But even if I granted you a G.I. Jane, an outlier, the exception would prove the rule. So the thing is like the reason she can't name a single time that there's been a successful revolt or women gaining their rights by force from men without appealing to men is because it's never happened and it can't. So because of that, my argument is simply this. How do feminists ever take out the patriarchy without appealing to an enforcement arm, which is going to be necessarily patriarchal? How's that even possible?
Well, there could be robots.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, there could be laser beams from outer space.
An enforcement arm that is not human male, is that you're asking.
I
can logically grant that a powerful, all-powerful gray alien species comes down here.
Drones.
And then you're appealing to the gray alien species to control the men.
You're asking for a type of force other than the human male that could be appealed to. I'm talking
who builds all the drones,
robots and ballistics.
Who builds all the drones?
At this point, more drones.
Who builds them?
Somebody built some drone that builds more drones.
Who builds them, Ian?
I don't know. Somebody.
Men.
Could be men. Could
who
be
builds
women.
all the weapons? Men. Who knows how to use all the weapons?
Together.
Men. Who can carry all the weapons? Men. Who can load all the tanks? Men.
It's not a 100% thing. There are women that also do that stuff.
But not the majority.
Well,
they're unique. Not everybody's the same, but they're more
Ian,
outliers.
how come these badass women don't go, hey, I'm tired of wearing this really hot in the middle of this sun, and we got millions of us, so we're just going to take out this patriarchy. Why not?
Well, they are stripping their off in Iran.
They're and appealing to men to come in and help them.
Yeah, I mean, ballistic force, appealing to the force, basically.
Appealing to the force.
And
force doctrine, unbeatable, always appealing to the patriarchy. So answer me this question: how is it that women, feminists, how is it even a logical position to say that you want to repeal the patriarchy with full knowledge that you'll always have to appeal to the patriarchy in order to enforce your deconstruction of the patriarchy? It's the most circular, stupid thing I've ever heard.
I think you have to appeal to force
and who has the monopoly on that?
The current state, the human male.
Okay, so right this very second, if women want to deconstruct the patriarchy, who do they have to appeal to?
Right. Yeah.
Men.
Yeah.
Can you steal Ian's argument?
Yeah, Ian is saying, what if there was some technological marvel that equalized force?
Like guns.
I thought the sense that I got from your arguments is that right now the domain of force is, and this is your view as well, one that is overwhelmingly dictated by, supported by, and led by men. But there exists a world potentially where women could get access to this domain of force that either, I don't even think you're saying entirely excludes, but leads them to have an upper hand over men, right? Because you're saying all of this technology is basically the great equalizer, because between drones, tanks, guns, etc., if it's just a matter of...
Yeah, where?
What? No, I don't think that you're saying it's happened yet, but you're saying that we can't just say because it hasn't happened yet that it necessarily won't in the future.
And there's a lot of stuff originated, a lot of these weaponry that I'm talking about originated because we had alpha males saying no one can stop me, I'm the biggest, strongest.
I'll tell you what,
it's not the strongest that survives, it's the one that's the most adaptable.
I'll tell you what, then advocate for feminism in 200 years where it's possible, but it's definitely not right now. There's no world right this second which exists or has in the last 7,000 years where women can do anything but address their grievances to those who have the monopoly on force. That's always men. So you're necessarily always going to have a patriarchy. It's a vicious circle.
That's the fallacy. Saying it always happened, therefore it will always happen is a misnomer.
I said appeal for it in 200 years then when it does happen. Or if we were asking about logical possibility, remember, Superman's logically possible. I can grant a logical possibility where aliens come down and put shock collars on men, and if they look at women cross-eyed, they get f***ing zapped. That's logical. It could happen. Its possibility pragmatically is like f***ing zero, though. So because of that, I'm going to look at this from pragmatic logic, practical logic. If I'm looking at pragmatic and practical logic, Ian, I'm going to ask you again right this second, if men want to appeal anything by power of law, who do they have to appeal to enforce it?
If women want to.
If women do. Women do.
Yeah, generally the government, which is usually run by men.
Who's the enforcement, though?
Yeah, cops.
It's going to be men.
Usually men.
It's always
big, strong, buff dudes.
Everywhere men. And if men decide to collectively women tomorrow, let's just say they did.
No, that I don't agree with.
Okay, I'm not saying that you agree that it's morally correct. I'm asking whether or not they could do it.
They could try, and then other men would stand up to defend against it.
So who are you appealing to
men,
again?
Still.
We would be appealing to ourselves.
You'd be appealing to men again.
It could be men and women.
What you just got done saying is if men came
in
and they tried women, men would stop them.
And women would stop them,
Ian.
and probably kids would stop them too.
Yeah, but who would those women and kids be appealing to for force?
Their rifle. They're what are you talking about?
Men. They'd be appealing to the men.
If a bunch of dudes came to the women in your neighborhood, and you and your wife and your kids grabbed their rifles You would all be appealing to what are you talking? There's no
They'd
appeal.
be appealing to the men.
You'd be to God. Your right to self-defense.
So,
what are you
can I
talking
just
about?
say, if someone comes
Ian.
after me and they have a gun, I'm going to look to my husband with the gun. I mean, I might have the gun, but I'm going to look to my husband to protect me.
Hang on, Ian.
There gets to a point where he's going to hand you a rifle because the two of you are better shots than one of you.
Yeah, so 300 men, they invade a suburban neighborhood that has 700 women in it. Are they going to win?
What is the situation? So you're
That's
in a walled
just 700 women.
compound that is only 700
women and they're in a suburban neighborhood, and 300 men come in there, and they're like, we're taking this shit.
Are the women strapped?
They're both strapped.
They're all strapped. Probably 700 people are going to wipe those dudes out.
Oh, come on, Ian.
They can shoot from windows. These guys are walking down streets.
Oh,
what
Ian.
A tactical disadvantage. Are they trained? Who are these men?
Yeah, okay. Ian,
just random
let's find
men?
out. Let's find out if this is true. Let's just take a logical exercise here. You are a prison warden, and you're offered two choices for those who can guard your prisoners. You'll either get twice the women or half the men to guard these prisoners. Now, these are the worst prisoners on planet Earth. They're big, they're mean, they're strong, and they're awful. Now, remember, you're going to get 2 women for every 1 male guard. Which one are you going to choose?
The men.
Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. So anyway, back to the
They're
debate.
not shooting dude. If you want to give me 700 rifles and you take 300 rifles, I'll take 700 rifles.
Okay. How about
if your guys are trained Navy SEALs?
What if I give you 3
argument.
women per 1 man?
Are they armed? What
yes.
are you talking about?
Hang on. All things are equal.
In
the guard towers, you can still have some women who are armed. The ones who have to patrol the floor, though, they're women.
If I need dudes in hand-to-hand combat, that's its own thing. But if I need guards with guns, I'm going to take triple the guns. What are you...
Yeah, in the towers. You're going to take guards in the tower, triple the tower. I get it. But who's walking the floor, Ian?
Put some, I don't know, big burly dudes down there.
Yeah, that's right.
But that's not the argument. Your argument is that men can arbitrarily women because they're stronger. I mean, it's the most like black and white, like lack of evidence.
Let me ask you a question.
That's why we built guns to defend against that mentality.
Help me out. There's never been a female revolution ever using physical force against men, which has ever been successful or even really tried.
The French Revolution,
which was full of men who
was started by women, dude.
Who was taking the men to the guillotines?
Who got the weapons out of the Bastille? It was the women,
bro. Who was using them?
They all did.
No, it was the men, dude.
Are you unfamiliar with the women that started the French Revolution?
Ian, let's walk through the French Revolution. Who was taking the people to the guillotines?
I mean, I wasn't there.
Men.
You're saying 100% men? Is this your argument? It was all men.
Almost, yeah.
No women, all men.
Yeah, basically all men.
I cannot believe that's an extreme.
I'll tell you what. I'll just grant it. It's 5% women.
Dude, the women started the revolution, bro. Do you not know that?
I'll just grant it for you that it's 5% women who
The women
who
started
fighting.
the communist revolution in Russia, too.
Yeah, so what? It has nothing to do with force doctrine.
It was a successful overthrow of the government, bro.
Nothing to do.
You just said there was no successful revolution started by women ever.
No. With physical force.
That was the French Revolution.
No,
what are you
dude.
talking? They robbed the. Sorry to interrupt. Make your point.
Let's pretend for a second that you have 8,000 women in cages. Okay, and then you have masters. Okay, can we point to instances in history where those all men who are in cages, right, have successfully overthrown their oppressors?
You said there's women in cages?
No, men.
Okay, so there's 800 men.
There's 8,000 men in cages.
8,000 men in cages.
Mm-hmm.
Has there ever been an instance in history where they've overthrown the dudes without external help?
No. Well, yeah, even without external help.
Not that I know of. I mean, people in cages, they're in cages.
The answer is yes. There has been many rebellions which were successful, led by men, of all men. Not a single one by women. Hang on. Ever. Not a single one will you ever be able to point to historically where women were en masse by men and ever were able to successfully use force, stop, Ian, to get out of their... Not once. They always have to appeal to males. Always. Which is why when I gave her the example, she was forced to agree. There's no choice around it. You always have to appeal to male force. There's no way around it. You're talking about women using, like, loudspeakers and propaganda to start fights, sure, but they're not fighting the fights, is my point. They're always appealing to people who can. That's the point. And so if it's the patriarchy that we're talking about, it's always going to be those who have a monopoly on force. So women, these feminists, are always going to have to appeal to those who have the monopoly on force, thus creating a new patriarchy. It's just like an over and over and over again cyclical It's just cyclical logic. It's bizarre. It makes no sense.
But I just don't think that the monopoly on force equals male necessarily.
Yeah, it equals male.
It usually does, because men are physically stronger. But then we built guns. Yeah. It's a relatively new invention, and now you started to see like even men kind of don't have a monopoly on force. Like we have robots that can drone. Like we don't.
The robots, do robots operate and build themselves or something?
Well, not yet. But we're starting to lose the monopoly on force as human men.
No, we're not.
I mean, dude, a whole village can get blown up by an airplane.
Yeah, you're talking about like clean warfare. Like largely a lot of it's happening from like the sky, because you have people just piloting drones. You don't have men like rushing out into warfare anymore. Like always. Or
unless you're in the Ukraine and you're in trenches and you're fighting combat, and the women all fled. They all fled. Women all fled. They're all in different countries. They got the out of there. They hightailed it. They're not in the trenches fighting, Ian. How come? That's really weird.
I'm not there, man. I don't know if that's really weird. Or not.
Where are all these? I
thought your point was that we're largely moving away from like this sort of trench warfare or whatever.
But
yeah,
we're
exactly.
not.
And we're starting to move towards like informational warfare, drone warfare, AI warfare, etc.
There will always be trench warfare. There will always be guys getting up in each other's faces. But yeah, ballistics have altered the way force is wielded and the way monopoly is drawn.
Oh yeah, is that so?
Yeah.
Oh, let me ask you a question. All things equal between a man and a woman, right? You give them both a gun, right? One of them has to watch your back. Who you picking?
It's such a vague question. I don't know them.
You don't know
who
them.
Are they?
You're just going to pick two. It's going to be completely random. You're going to push a button. It's going to be a random woman or a random man who shows up with a gun to watch your back. Which button you pushing, Ian?
I don't know, man.
You don't know?
I don't know.
You're not sure?
Just pick the guy and get it over with?
Yeah,
like,
that's
what
right.
if Kamala Harris had become president? Who would have had the monopoly on force?
It's still always going to defer to the enforcement arm. They're always going to have the monopoly on force.
I'm sorry, you said they always look to their leader, right? They look to the one to lead them.
You
Who
can
would be
look,
leading them?
Here's the thing. You can look to leadership unless you get to overthrow.
Well, now you're just saying that leadership doesn't matter, and that's dismantles your initial argument that people
not
have to
saying
appeal to
leadership doesn't matter. I'm saying that men always have an option of force to change leadership, and women don't.
Yeah, that argument is saying then leadership doesn't matter.
No,
because we can just overthrow it anyway, so it always comes back to whoever
men
wants it.
Can overthrow it.
I don't know.
Not women.
Women can also overthrow.
No, they can't.
People with weapons can overthrow systems of humans.
Yeah. Then when's the last time women did that? Ever?
I just said they can. I didn't say they did.
They can't.
I said they can.
They can't. And they don't have the physical prowess to do it. If Kamala had
been the president and the issue for the drone, it would have been much easier for a female to take some physical. Like I don't want to dominate this combo.
She's going to use drones that men built in order to dominate her enemies.
Yeah, that's adaptability.
Yeah, what's going to happen is this: is that if men want to change the conditionals of the state they're in, they have the option to, and women don't, and that's a fact. And so the thing is that if men universally decide that they're going to women, there isn't a thing in the world women can do about it. But if portions of men decide that they're going to men, there is something men can do about it.
But the thing,
that's the most historically accurate fact on planet Earth.
Yeah, but you're saying if this total incapable
thing,
all
right
men
now
are
is not
if all men come together.
Not all men.
This
even
is your position.
If it's the case that in the Middle East, the Middle Easterners want women, didn't they already do that?
Yeah, but that's
how come
different.
Why didn't
the Iranian theocracy?
So yeah, well, any place you want to look at across the world where women are second-class citizens, can women do about that without appealing to men?
I don't know, but the point that you made is that...
To answer the question, can women do...
I can answer the question any way I want to answer the question.
Yeah, but you have to actually answer the question I'm asking.
No, I don't have to. I can answer whatever I want.
I mean, you can obfuscate.
I want. If you don't like it, that's still my answer.
Oh, okay. Well, then your answer is I don't like your question.
You like gish gallop 3 questions in a row.
I didn't gish gallop anything.
I'm trying to disprove your first point.
I'm asking
2 questions about
I'm only asking
the Middle Eastern
one question
women.
I want actually answered.
Give it to me again.
Okay. The question I want answered is right this second in the Middle East. Okay. If women wanted to determine to get their rights back themselves, right, without appealing to men, can they do it or not?
They'd have to appeal to like an external authority, similar to the American revolutionaries. They couldn't do it alone. They had to appeal to the French. Like when you're under the boot, it's hard to get out without appealing to, but it doesn't have to be a man. It could be a queen, Queen Elizabeth or whatever. It could have been.
Or you got to flip people. You got to find defectors, like male defectors that are willing to fight on their side.
Males again. Back to males. And
well, I mean, females make the best spies.
yeah,
That's true.
but you're always appealing to those pesky men for force, and there's nothing you can do about it. Every single time. And that's why force doctrine's an unbeatable position, because it's the observable fact of the world.
That I agree with. Force doctrine, yeah. But I don't think it always has to be a male in control of it.
But it is always men who are in control of it.
Queen Elizabeth is an example of someone that was a dominating military force that was not.
Of who? A dominating military force made up of which sex?
All of them.
Men
and their wives, and they were the dude go out on the
like
boats.
If we look up, let's look at, can we find out what percentage of her military was men real quick?
Yeah, but dude, earlier you were talking about how people appeal to their leader, like
no.
the masculine, that you're always going to
talking
appeal
about
to.
Who can change the conditionals of their leader.
The argument that strength gives you primary control is a fallacy. It is adaptability. Strength.
What's the fallacy?
That the stronger you are, the more likely you are to be in control.
That's not fallacious.
No, strength has diminishing return.
Yeah, but
and
that's
it
not
also makes you a target.
But that's not a logically fallacious argument. That would be a proposition. And so the thing is that propositionally, there's no fallacy there to make that statement, especially if it's observably true, and it is.
No.
Yes.
The strongest men are often the easiest to destroy.
Sure, by other men.
By guns, by people with guns. I'm not talking.
Wielded by men.
Past hand-to-hand combat, dude. It still exists. But that age of like men can their woman until she does what he says is gone. I mean, you technically can, but there are cameras on you now.
Do guns require hand strength?
A little.
Yeah. Do they require you to be able to carry a lot of equipment with you? Do you have to feed yourself? Yeah. Well, I'm sorry. You don't have to. Well, yeah. If you're going to use guns for the purpose of combat, you're going to be carrying a kit. You're going to be carrying a kit. You're going to be carrying food. You're going to be carrying all sorts of other equipment. Not to mention that
you just carry in Florida.
You're going to carry 300, 400 rounds of ammunition. You're going to carry it in a chest rig. Then you're going to carry a sidearm on top of that. Then you're going to have your helmet on. Then you're going to have body armor. You're going to have all this stuff.
I'm talking about carrying. Your gun in Florida, bro. In
your
belt, on your holster. That's all you got. I'm not talking about joining the military.
That's not collective defense, or it's not collective assault. That's not how that works.